Well, hello once again. This is me, Leonard Wells, broadcasting as usual from HASLINGDEN, north of Manchester in the UK, on Monday the 14th of November 2011. This is just to say that today my girlfriend and I decided that we would marry on April the 7th, 2012. We first met digitally, which means online, in 2008, and we first met physically, which means in our bodies, on 09/09/09 in Bucharest. And I can tell you, I was quite literally petrified, terrified, not quite mortified, but definitely pie-eyed, as we used to say. I told her that we must both be completely bonkers to undertake something like this, because apart from the fact that we are 1,700 miles or 2,000 something kilometres apart, at opposite ends of the EU. I'm 71 now, and she is coming up to 40. So to say that I'm her senior is to say the least. She likes a beard, and she's forbidden me to shave. So by the time we marry, I will look something like Moses looked in the film The Ten Commandments. Marriage is a fantastic institution because it was ordained by our Creator. You remember what Christ said? What God hath brought together, let no man put asunder. Now we in the West, we poo-poo religion, or at least a lot of people do, and not only have we brought in divorce, we have brought in situations where people don't even bother to get married, they just shack up together, as we used to call it. They just go and live together. I haven't got a clue where this conversation is taking us, but I'm just talking as it comes. Marriage is a great institution because it is the vehicle by which children are brought into the world. I'm not going into the physical details of how that arises, because at my age, one doesn't talk about such things in the presence of the opposite sex. This sounds rather strange, actually, but you know what I mean. I mean, there are all kinds of strangers out there that I don't know about who might be offended if I talk about the birds and the bees. But to get married to somebody of another nationality in Europe is quite complicated. And when we first thought about getting married, I looked into every kind of combination around Europe. And strange to relate, the simplest place for us to marry is Gibraltar, because they use English, they use English money, they allow you to email copies of your documents beforehand for approval, and then you only have to flash them once when you get there. You don't need a civil ceremony first. A church service is quite acceptable. The weather's good and Spain is next door for a honeymoon. Why not honeymoon in North Africa, in Tangiers or somewhere? Fabulous. Second place that's easiest to marry for one national to marry the opposite sex from another EU country is Iceland. They speak English, don't have a very long residency requirement, just the same as Gibraltar, and it seems quite straightforward. In Romania, for me to marry my Princess Loredana in Romania requires, first of all, a medical within about 3 weeks of getting married, then a civil ceremony in the sort of local town hall kind of thing, and then the church ceremony. Now, when I was over in Romania last in September and October, end of September and beginning of October, we stayed in the town where her parents live, a town called Gura Humorului in Bucovina, which is in the far north of Romania. I stayed at a hotel and she stayed with her parents. And on the last day, they had just before we arrived, they'd just finished a cathedral which they had built in that town. Very, very attractive. Rather like a Russian with these pointed domes on the top, you know the kind, maybe 4 of them. And on the last afternoon, before we caught the train the next day back to Bucharest, we went to the cathedral to have a last look round inside. And by an amazing coincidence, from the town hall came this wedding party accompanied by musical players. The bride in the white gown and the husband in the beautiful suit and so on. And into the cathedral they went for the wedding service. And we went in and joined them. And it was rather fortuitous, heck of a coincidence, and a good omen, we thought, for our future together. Finding love at my age has been a great stroke of good fortune. I'd actually prayed most of my life to find a companion, and she would have to be a rather special lady because I'm an awkward old bugger, an awkward old goat. I'm funny about food, and she says I'm very kind, but I'm not sure about that. And I'm sometimes short-tempered. But I believe in the institution of marriage as ordained by God, and I asked and I asked and I asked. And lo and behold, in 2008, I finally reached desperation point. And I said, as Christ said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? And within days, I had met my companion. And God, in his wondrous generosity, didn't just give me a companion, he gave me a princess. And I'm delighted. And I'm over the moon. Probably completely nuts, but nevertheless, it's what we want to do. And I've arranged my travel insurance with American Express, and they promised they will bury me, dead or alive, in whichever country I happen to snuff it. If I die here, if I die here in the UK, I have to bury myself or get somebody else to bury me. But if I die in Romania, they will pay for the funeral rather than shipping me back all this way just to stick me in the ground. My girlfriend, my princess, doesn't like me to talk about death. Like most women, she prefers life on earth. I promised her that we have all eternity together. Absolutely, and I've said equally the advantage of marrying a man like me at my age is that if you're not happy, you don't have so long to put up with it. Unless I'm one of those who's going to stick out until I'm 110, in which case she might go before me. Well, I've now flown back and to Romania 7 times. You can't fly direct from Manchester. You have to change. You can either fly via Amsterdam with KLM, via Paris with Air France, via Munich or Dusseldorf with Lufthansa. And I've been 4 times with, 4 times with KLM via Amsterdam, once with Air France via Paris, and twice with Lufthansa via Dusseldorf and Munich. Out of the 4 flights with KLM, my bags were delayed on 2 legs of the 4 flights. One to Amsterdam, Amsterdam to Bucharest, Bucharest to Amsterdam, Amsterdam to Manchester. My bag wasn't there once when I arrived in Bucharest, but it turned up 2 days later. And coming home to Manchester just after Christmas once, my bag didn't arrive with me, and it arrived a few days later. And I've discovered in my travels that the airlines know where your bag is all the time. And when you get on the plane and it takes off, they know then where your bag is. And they know whether it's on the plane with you or not. But they don't like to tell you that in case you do a war dance in the aisle. They rather you walk away from the plane, away from the crew and the cabin and all the rest of it, and stand like a chip watching the carousel go round and round before you realise that yours is not there. And then you go and fill a form in and await developments. But on the whole, I'm quite impressed with flying. Not very impressed with Manchester Airport. It has certain faults, like no trolleys on the air side, which means you have to carry everything. Which is, if you've got a heavy carry-on bag, it can be quite a nuisance, especially when you have to go in and out the restaurants and in and out the toilets, and so on and so forth. And same when you come back. When you get off the plane in Manchester, you have to walk what seems a mile. Alright, they've got some of these moving walkways, but even so, you have to carry your carry-on bag through to passport control and then through to the carousel, and only where the carousel is can you get a trolley to escape, to get out of the airport. But you have to have a £1 coin. Now if you just come back from a trip abroad, you may not have a £1 coin. So you find a machine which issues change. Put in a £5 note or a £10 note, get £1 coins. And then you find a trolley and unhook it from its neighbour with a £1 coin, put your bags on, put your carry-on bag on, and then go and wait at the carousel for any bag you've checked in. Then you have to go through customs and out. But when you get to the car park, you've got to find another trolley which then mates with it, if you pardon the pun, to get your £1 back. Which at my age is a pain, because you might have to walk 100 yards to find such a trolley and then walk 100 yards back carrying your bags. Rather defeats the object of having a trolley, it seems to me. Well, we've come a long way together. We haven't yet discussed where we'd like to go for our honeymoon. We think we're certainly going to have to wed in Bucharest, because otherwise her parents might not be able to be there. Because my girlfriend lives with her 98-year-old aunt, her parents will have to come and stay to take care of her while we go off and get married and have a little honeymoon. Now, we both like foreign parts. Maybe we might go to Constantinople I beg your pardon, Istanbul, as it's now called. Or we might go to Sofia in Bulgaria. Or maybe, I don't know, Gibraltar, maybe Rome. I've never seen Rome. I'd love to see Rome. See Rome and die, they say. Or was it see Paris and die? I can never remember which. My girlfriend's a marvellous tour guide. If I ask her something about a building, she can tell me how many bricks it took to make it, or how many trowelfuls of cement and mortar and so on like that. She has that kind of scientific mind. But we're very funny together. We often have good laughs, and that's half the battle. If you can laugh together, no matter how difficult things get, you can always overcome problems. Now I'm running out of puff now. I'm running out of a flow of words. So I'm going to repeat the date, 7th of April 2012, which is Easter Saturday, the day between Good Friday and Easter Sunday. That's Easter Saturday 2012. I will lose my bachelor status and God willing, be full of joy forever. God bless, while it's still legal in the UK to say God bless. Take care and bye for now.